So the time is upon us finally. We have done so much work. We have had so much process and release, and now we have walked through the doorway into this new age, and we've taken the first steps really recently to really step into our true self. So my focus is teaching people how to live the shift, from my remembrance, from my guidance, and in teaching people how to, teaching us how to remember our divinity, remember how to step into our power with an unconditional love, without ego, and in unity, so that we can move together and ascend together into what I call Earth 2.0. So on that, we've had a lot going on, right? We've had a lot going on for years now, but this year has been tremendous. And in the past couple months, it's really been building up until the past several weeks. It really has sped up, and we walked through some doorways etherically. And this morning I woke up. This is the day before Thanksgiving in the United States in 2013. And I basically was getting the nudge of get up, get moving, you have a lot to do, you have a lot to talk about, get on the air. And I'm in the middle of writing a book about living the shift and experiencing the universe through higher consciousness. And I basically got, no, I'm not, yeah, you're working on that, that's great, but you got to get up and for the next 5 days you need to talk about all of this stuff, all of this that you understand, and all of that you have remembered, because part of what I understand I volunteer to do is be a voice of the awakening, a voice of the ascension. And in doing this, all it is a nudge. I'm a nudger. I nudge you to remember and teach others how to listen to their higher selves. And if you already know how to listen to your higher self, also sort of nudge others on how to let go of the expectations and the boxes that we have set up in this expression and this existence of duality that we have been going through for eons. So 5 days, starting today. This is Wednesday, November 27th, 2013, and I'll be going through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well. This is my first day, and this is the first communication. So I was guided to do the first one as a webcast to sort of give you an introduction and talk about what we're going to be talking about. I'm not quite sure exactly what that's going to be, but the first one's a webcast, and I'm going to sort of give you an overview. I have an idea what to talk about. And there's so many different topics that came to me today in meditation that, excuse me, I'm going to be doing webcasts. I'm going to do open lines on Blog Talk Radio. I have a station called Living the Shift. So all you need to do is go to blogtalkradio.com/livingtheshift, and I will tonight be posting the open hours for discussion that I'm going to get on the air and talk about these different topics, and everyone's welcome to call in to discuss. I really welcome others who are voices of the Ascension as well, so that we can compare notes, talk it out, figure out, because it's us working in unity to get the full picture. We have all these different facets, and that's the beauty of this whole ascension process. So tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about, I really got this picture of where we're going, right? Where we're going and where we stand now is taking on the energy of seeker. We have lived in this experience of duality for ages and eons, and it's been an amazing experience. We have done it because we are the divine. We have done it in the umpteenth bazillion different ways, and endless facets to ourselves, and no two ways exactly alike. And now we're done. My understanding is we're done, and we're ready. And so I'm going to also say this. For the next 5 days, what I'm talking about is my understanding through my filter of understanding and experience. So what I'm putting all this out here for is to make you conscious and aware and think and accepting to new ideas beyond the old boxes, beyond where we have put our spiritual selves, put our concepts for such a really long time. And I don't care if you are Christian or Buddhist or Jewish or Hindu or Muslim or Zoroastrian or any of a number of other belief systems, it doesn't matter. Pagan, Wiccan, all of that. It doesn't matter because this is universal. I am universal. We are universal. We are all one. And simply all different belief systems are based on the filtration of the experience of the individuals involved and the groups involved. So, I'm going to talk from a very high level, from as high of a level as as I'm guided. But we are at the point of seeker. It's time to open our hearts and open our minds and accept our higher selves and bring in the higher consciousness into this reality. And as seekers, we have three facets right now. One is enhancing our lives by opening up to unlimited possibilities of our ever-expanding universe, to open up to the flow, accept synchronicities, accept the beauty of the interconnectedness of who we are, of what we are. And with that, I did write out a couple of notes, which is funny because I almost never do notes anymore. I just totally go by guidance. But this came to me in meditation, so this is guidance. Anyway, and so the affirmation that supports this would be, I fully allow all that is possible in magnificence into every moment. I fully allow. One of the things that we're going to talk about over the next 5 days is allowing ourselves to be divine, remembering that we are divine, remembering that there needs to be no intermediaries, that the divine and ourselves are one, and the more that we live in unconditional love and acceptance of all as one, the more powerful we become, the more we ascend, the more we move forward in a very accelerated fashion. So, here's an affirmation every day. I fully allow all that is possible in magnificence into every moment of my life and every moment of my existence. The second part of being a seeker right now is being shown your path to the wisdom that goes beyond knowledge. Okay? Going beyond the knowledge of what we've been told, what we have read, what we have seen, what we have embedded in us as beliefs from many, many other lifetimes and other parts of this existence, and releasing all of that, and releasing, and again, it goes back to these boxes of expectations and rules and guides. We created them. We're going to talk about that a lot. We created them, and we're going to release them. And it's time for us to seek the wisdom. Remember, not seek, but remember the wisdom. I like the word remember, but seeker is really what had come to me. But seeking is opening ourselves up to receiving more, right? So in essence, when we seek, we're actually seeking the remembrance of the divine beings that we are. So that's going beyond the wisdom, that's going beyond the knowledge of what's provided to us in the 3D to the higher consciousness, and listening to the higher self and learning how to do that. And knowing that all we need is within us. So the affirmation for that on a daily basis would be, I am the divine, I am limitless, and I have all answers within in divine truth. We can access that. What I'm going to be talking about over the next 5 days are concepts that are out there that many talk about in different ways, and so many, and I talk about this a lot in my radio show, Living the Shift, on Blog Talk Radio, and a lot of my posting, in what I do and teaching Trinity Energy Progression, which is, I was the originator of and gifted remembrance to in 2011, of tapping directly into divine consciousness without ego. Because it's time for us to really take a leap forward, and we're ready. Energetically and vibrationally, we're ready. So this is giving everyone a forum to ask questions, and for me to just get guidance of whatever needs to be communicated. The intention is put out there that we all connect heart to heart, that I am a clear and open channel to the higher consciousness of all, so that I can communicate what needs to be communicated to help everyone on their journeys with grace and ease is my mantra. So the third part of the seeker that I'm talking about is the finding the deeper understanding, expression of passion and creativity, and letting go of all that does not serve us. So the energy of that is the dragon, okay? Animals and different, even mythological, what we call mythological animals in today's day and age. What we do, there's still energies that are attached, and dragons are powerful, powerful beings. So the power of the dragon is that they assist us to, with the fire, they clear the path ahead, they clear out what no longer serves us, outdated beliefs, outdated contexts that we are no longer utilizing, but yet we still are defined by them. So all I'm asking, there was a great quote. I'm again reading a note, and then I'll be done with my notes. I'm going to read my list of ideas that I had gotten to talk about, and then we'll move on from there. But there's a great quote, right, that this is going to encapsulate all of it. It is by René Descartes. If you would be a real seeker after truth, it is necessary that at least once in your life you doubt as far as possible all things. And that was a really cool quote. I would expand it and just say, you let go of expectations and what we've known to open our hearts and our souls to remembering that the boxes were created, that we created the boxes, and that all is limitless. When we start to accept that all is possible and all is limitless, then the universe actually starts making a whole lot more sense in a really bizarre and different kind of way, which I find a lot more fun. But there's so much that we have outdated and we have not even realized that we are still holding on to, but these foundational beliefs are being torn away from us because of our energetic changes and shifting. So over the next 5 days, these are the topics that came to me. Now, I'm opening, like I said, I'm going open air at different times over the next 4 days after today. So anybody can call in and ask questions, and we can discuss these topics. And I'm going to post those on my Facebook page at Angela Beyer Coulter, Angela Beyer Coulter, and on my Facebook page, Living the Shift. You can just search for Living the Shift, and I'm going to post those times and just post them wherever I can find it. But I'm open to any topic that comes in, but these are the topics that came in this morning. So first of all, talking about where we are today. Multi-level consciousness, what that is, multi-dimensional consciousness, what that is, living in divine love, what that is, and there's so many topics that are really, really important. Things like avatar energy and bringing how we are here to live avatar energy, all of us, and how to bring that in and what that means in stepping into our truth and stepping into our power. Star beings, ascended masters, archangels, and what that is, star beings, like what people consider aliens or whatever, how that all interreacts and how that all is interconnected with us and actually one with us, and how we can shift our consciousness from everything being outside of us to being connected and within us. And what all this means. Things about star beings, ascended masters, angels, archangels, all that kind of stuff. A huge topic, honoring the darkness and recognizing it's part of the light. It is time for us to resolve duality, and talking a lot about duality. It's time for us to resolve duality, and I have a lot to say about that because I've done so much work in helping others look at the darkness within, accepting it, learning the lesson, completing it, resolving it, releasing it, and letting it transform back, or not just transform back, but to recognize it and just assume it as part of the light instead of resisting, so that we can move forward and quit repressing it and making it bigger and giving it more power by fighting it and creating resistance, because that is when we talk about the basis of duality, that is based in duality, and that is based in resistance, which then just grows that resistance and separation. So, and also talking about unity, releasing separation, the importance of that, why, and how to start looking at each other as one and living it versus just talking about it what's convenient for us. Seeing all of this from a higher perspective, stepping into our full truth without ego, living in the new world in a new way, activations, like what we call light code activations, and people saying all that. Releasing the third, fourth, and fifth dimensions. That's my understanding, is that's one of the things that we tend to misunderstand because we don't have the context yet. But, so many people are talking about with this ascension, okay, well, we're all resolving into the fifth dimension. My understanding is actually the third, fourth, and fifth dimension are coming all back together in consciousness because we're in all of those. And we're actually releasing the old third, fourth, and fifth dimensions all together and creating a new one in a new consciousness. And we'll talk about that. And anything else that comes up, anything that is so important at this juncture to consider. So this is where I wanted to start. And so I'll just start tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about what duality is, because many times there's so many different definitions, so many understandings. And duality is perceived as, right and wrong, and good and bad, and yin and yang, and all that kind of stuff. Well, yes, but here is my basic understanding of duality, and something for you to consider. Because as the stories unfold, as we talk, and I would love to talk about Lemuria, Atlantis, ancient Egypt, and other societies where we have peaked in memory, and how there is more and more scientific evidence, even in the 3D world today, coming up that, wow, there have been really advanced civilizations that we're discovering stuff from well beyond where we considered human habitation to have begun. So there's so much, and there's so much coming to the surface in the meeting. So, all right, let's go back. I could just keep on just talking. Step 1, duality. My understanding has always been that we are part of the divine, that like we have, say, 2 to 3 trillion cells in our body. Each of those cells have a consciousness, and they know exactly what they're supposed to do and make up the organs that run and pump our blood and everything else. And then we have this consciousness that runs this physical body. Well, it keeps on going up. And I'll talk about this over the next number of days, because I teach this in talking about Trinity Energy Progression. Trinity Energy Progression is a practice, a method, an energy modality of, like I said earlier, tapping directly into divine consciousness, releasing duality, and remembering that we don't have to attain anything outside of us, but actually simply remembering, pulling out the partitions that prevent us from remembering, based on the existence of duality. That's been part of the game. We're coming to the end of the game, so now we're pulling out all the stuff that we did. So in doing that, talking about duality, my understanding is that we are the divine, right? So we have always been here, we are always here, we will always be here. We are always one and unity and oneness, and my understanding is the only reality in truth in this universe is unconditional love. And everything else has been created. Everything else is a play in some way, shape, or form. And from the oneness, we have a consciousness, and the consciousness then says, what if we did not have a me? What if I did not have a me? What if there was something that possibly could look at me from outside of me to tell me what I was? And we created that. We created the perception of duality in that way, that there could be a divine and a not divine. And as the divine, my understanding is we created partitions, what I call partitions, to pretend that we could separate. It's like taking my thumb and saying, okay, I'm going to cut off all your connection, or like your conscious connection with the hand, so you can move independently without having to be part of my hand, and see how that goes. And that's what we did. But we did it in a zillion different ways. And so basically the basis of duality, in my understanding, is that there is a me, a divine, and a not divine. And everything that we've created in the basis of duality came from that, a separation. What separation is, pretending to be separate. And of course, promptly we had to decide that part of the game was that we'd forget that we were separated till we were done with the lesson. So we do that, and that's where we created. From that we could create good and bad, high and low, black and white, yin and yang. And the concept that you have to have opposites to equal, completion, equal and opposite, to balance and all that kind of stuff, and having the concept of balance. And so what's really, really, really important is to know that this was all an illusion. It was all the game, right? And we have explored it and done it in a fantastic, amazing way. and that my understanding is we're ready to release the heaviest part of duality. Heavy meaning, the most separate part of duality. So we're doing that in this whole cycle. Now, if I really want to go woo-woo, which I'm going to be going woo-woo over the next 5 days, I have had remembrance from a higher consciousness, a higher collective oversoul consciousness, that Earth in essence was an experiment, that in reality none of us are actually from here, that some of us chose to be players in the experiment for various purposes, and that we're coming up on a very prominent event that is really coming upon us quickly. And in the process of this event coming together in the most interrelated, complex, amazing way, is that it opens up a doorway between, like, I don't know, a billion different doors, like in lines, like a billion different aspects, and shifts the entire universe, our little tiny planet. So, the faster we accept all of this, the faster we open our minds to the larger perspective instead of this microscopic, ant hill kind of perspective, the more the faster and more easily it will progress. So, think about what it is you would like that you're seeking. And over the next 5 days, I'm here. Again, it will be on, you can find the posting for when I'll be online. I believe it's probably going to be 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, Eastern Time in the United States, on Thursday the 28th, and I will record everything and post it afterwards. And then probably Friday the 29th, so I could accommodate different time frames, time zones. We'll be doing, like, going on the air like noon, and I might have supportive webcasts, and we'll just see, because this sort of just came to me, and part of our lesson right now is completely going with the flow and changing direction on a dime, and I just hadn't planned on doing this on a holiday weekend, and you know what, it doesn't matter, because thinking about it that way is very 3D. So the positive way is that it is amazing time for us. So we have amazing opportunities, and it's time for all of us to really expand our horizons and consider the larger picture. So, and in all of these transmissions, all of these webcasts, all of these open air forums that I'm creating with Blog Talk Radio, I will be setting all these in a vibration of clearing for anyone who listens, clearing the way, like your higher self will agree to, clearing the way in the most graceful and easy way for you to move forward, so that that you can accept wider concepts, more that are more unified, more higher level, more in higher consciousness. And any questions that you have, I'm more than welcome, as long as they are positive and upbeat and not derogatory. And debating is fine. Questioning is fine. All of our truths are individual based on the filter of our reality. So this is just going to be here to answer the questions that have been pressing on you and discuss things you might not even have thought about before, and how, and hopefully by the end of this you'll be able to see everything and how it interconnects, and how start seeing how everything interconnects, because we'll talk about different, different belief systems, different tools that are out there, and what they mean, and what energy healing is, and what, and not just, this isn't just for the beginner though. This is also for discussion for those, like I said, who are on this path actively, who are other voices of the awakening, and who, if you want to get on the air with me, great. I would love to discuss these topics and anything else with you in a positive and connected, unified manner. So, on that, I'm going to let y'all go. It's later on Wednesday night, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. I will post up tonight, but I do believe it'll be either 9 or 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Let's just say 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The United States tomorrow morning on blogtalkradio.com/livingtheshift. Lots of love to everyone, and I look forward to our interchange over the next several days. Thank you.